Hello everyone. Let us continue our discussion about the course on metrology and quality engineering. This is the third lecture on the module of acceptance sampling. The topics that would be covered in this session are double sampling plans, multiple sampling plans, evaluating sampling plans, rectifying inspection, average outgoing quality, average total inspection. We had already seen different types of sampling plans. Uh, Broadly, three types: single sampling plan, double sampling plan, and multiple sampling plan. We had discussed about single sampling plan in the previous session. Also, we had discussed about operating characteristic curve for single sampling plans. Now, let us discuss today about the remaining two types of sampling plans. The first one is this double sampling plan. So in this case, you can see as shown in the flow chart, you have two samples. Okay, so every sample will have the acceptance number. So C1 is the acceptance number for sample 1, N1 is the sample size of sample 1, C2 is the acceptance number of sample 2, and N2 is the size of sample 2. In that way, let us see the flow. Inspect a sample of N1 pieces. That is the first sample consisting of N1 pieces. Inspect it. Note down the number of defectives. Let the number of defectives be D1. Okay. Then you check the number of defectives with the acceptance number for this sample. C1 is the acceptance number for this first sample. If number of defective is less than or equal to the acceptance number, then accept the lot. If D1 is greater than C2, now C2 is the acceptance number for the second sample. So if D1 is greater than C2, in that case, reject the lot. But what if D1 is in between C1 and C2? So you follow this track now. That is, the number of defectives is greater than acceptance number for first sample, but it is less than the acceptance number for the second sample. So in this case, inspect another sample of N2 pieces. Then in this case, you have to take the second sample consisting of N2 number of pieces. So inspect that. Now in this case, this total number of defectives is D. Both N1 plus N2, whatever is the number of defectives, that is equal to D. Now that D is less than or equal to acceptance number for the second sample, that is C2, then accept the lot. But the total number of defectives in both the samples, that is D, is greater than the acceptance number for the second sample, that is C2. So in this case, reject the lot. Okay, so here decision is based on these two samples. That's the reason why it is called as double sampling plan. Now let us see multiple sampling plan. Multiple sampling, as the name suggests, it is the extension of double sampling plan only, but more than two samples. So it is multiple samples. So n number of samples. It can be 3, 4, 5, etc. So let us consider this multiple sampling plan for 5 samples. So how the decision would be arrived? First sample, sample size N1. So total size is N1 only because this is the first sample. Acceptance number is C1. Now it will have rejection number. R1 is the rejection number for the first sample. So now you count the number of defectives in the first sample. let us say that is D1. So if D1 is less than or equal to C1, then you accept the lot. But if D1 is greater than R1, then you have to reject the lot. Okay, so R1 is the rejection number. But what if D1 is greater than C1 and less than R1, then you take the second sample. So second sample is taken. Second sample will consist of N2 number of pieces or N2 components, and the total size of this lot will be N1 plus N2 cumulative, and find out the defectives in this. Let us say N1 plus N2, both the defective is D2 in this case. Now D2, the acceptance number is C2, so if it is less than or equal to C2, accept the lot. If it is greater than R2, then reject the lot. R2 is the rejection number for the second sample. What if it is in between C2 and R2, that is it is greater than C2 and less than R2? In that case, take the third sample. And in this way, you take these samples. Say now last sample is N5, fifth sample. So when D4 is greater than C4, less than R4, you have to take the fifth sample in this case. Now fifth sample, again you take the total number of pieces in all the 5 samples and the total number of defectives in these many pieces, and let us say that is D5. So D5 is less than C5, which is the acceptance number for the fifth sample. C5 is the acceptance number. So D5 is less than C5, then accept the lot. If it is greater than C5, then reject the lot. Now this is the last lot. That's the reason why since this is the last lot, you don't have any rejection number here. Simply the acceptance number is given here. So your defectives, total number of defectives in all these samples is greater than this acceptance number, then simply reject the lot. So this is how this multiple sampling plan is executed. Let us compare between these 3 types of sampling plans. Now here the parameter, in this column single sampling plan, in this column double sampling plan, and here you have multiple sampling plan. So let us compare this. First parameter is average number of pieces inspected per lot. It is the largest in case of single sampling plan. In case of double sampling plan, it is in between the single and the multiple, and in multiple it is the lowest one, that is number of pieces inspected per lot. Second parameter is cost of administration. It is lowest in case of single sampling plan. It is intermediate cost for double sampling plan, and multiple sampling plan, the administrative cost of execution of this plan is largest. The third parameter is information available regarding prevailing quality level. Largest information is available in case of single sampling plan as compared to double and multiple. Double, it is intermediate information is gathered, and multiple sampling plan, the least amount of information is gathered here. Acceptability to producers. In this case, single sampling plan, this is less acceptable to the producers, gives only one chance of passing the lot. Why? Because you get only one chance to clear the lot. So this is not very agreeable, very much agreeable to the producers. This it is intermediate one, most acceptable. Double sampling plan, it is most acceptable, and in case of multiple sampling plan, indecision is continued for a long term. So sometimes the inspection is pending because of these multiple stages of inspection in the multiple sampling plan. So the indecision is pending. I mean, the decision is not taken early, and that's the reason why this is also not so much favorable for these producers. What is this middle one is the favorable one. Why? Because it gives one more chance for acceptance of the lot. It is a double sampling plan, and plus execution wise it is rapidly executed. Let us see now the parameters for evaluating various sampling plans. Before that, just understand the concept of rectifying inspection. What do you mean by rectifying inspection? Incoming lot of fraction defective is PO. Sampling inspection is done. Based on the decision of the sampling plan, the lots are accepted. They move further. Accepted lots will have fraction defective PO because they are accepted with this fraction defective incoming lot fraction defective, and that is less than the acceptance number. The defective number of defectives in the sample is less than the acceptance number, so they are accepted. They will still have this fraction defective PO, and they go ahead down the line. What about those lots which are not accepted? It means that they are rejected. So the rejected lots are sent back to the producer or the vendor. Then the rectification is carried out either at the vendor's place or the place where the company is procuring it from the vendors. So rectification and replacement is carried out. To then what is done actually, rectification and replacement, remaining lots, those which are rejected, all of the components are inspected. That is, they are subjected to 100% inspection, and the number of defectives are either replaced or rectified, and then they are passed on directly to the consumer. So in that case, what is happening here, when they go to the consumer, now because of the replacement and rectification, they will not have any defect now, because defects had been replaced by good products, or rectification has been done so that now they are agreeable. So they are having zero defective. So here the reworking, revert or repaired or replaced lots, they are coming with zero defective, and accepted lots, they are having a fraction defective of P0. So they will mix together, and average outgoing quality, that is the outgoing fraction defective, will be P1, which will be less than the incoming fraction defective. Why? Because of this 100% inspection of these rejected lots and reworking of those rejected lots, rectification and replacement has been done. So these number of products, they are coming with the zero defects or zero defectives, whereas on this side, accepted products, they will have the fraction defective of P0. So clubbing these together, the overall fraction defective, which is outgoing fraction defective, which is denoted by P1, will be less than the incoming fraction defective. So it is that case beneficial, rectification is beneficial. Also, it will put the pressure on the producer's part, because he will think that now if he does not improve the quality of his products, he may have to face the rejection, and then he may have to invest more for rectifying those rejected components and replacing those components. So more cost is incurred in this exercise. That's the reason why he will improve his quality processes and see to it that he is producing good components which are always acceptable. Let us see this now. Average outgoing quality. This is one of the parameter for comparison of various sampling plans. The average outgoing quality is average quality level of a series of batches that leave the inspection station. assuming rectifying inspection after coming in for inspection at certain quality level. So let us see this. We have seen in the previous slide, we have seen that because of this rectifying inspection, those lots which are rejected, they are replaced by after carrying out 100% inspection, the defective parts are replaced by good products, and that's the reason why they will have zero defectives, and they are going to mix with these accepted lots. So overall average defective would be reduced. So that is what is average outgoing quality is reduced as compared to the incoming lot quality. So that is the reason why the AOQ is not the quality level of a single batch that leaves inspection station, but it is an average of multiple batches. Outgoing quality is calculated based on multiple batches, and that's the reason why it is less than the input quality. AOQ is calculated as PA, that is probability of acceptance, into fraction defective. P is fraction defective of the incoming products multiplied by capital N is the lot size, small n is the sample size, and that's the way of calculating AOQ. AOQ is equal to probability of acceptance into fraction defective into n minus n divided by n. The AOQ measures the average quality level of number of such batches of incoming quality P, the proportion non-conforming in the batch. What is that P? P is the fraction defective in the incoming batches, assuming rectification. This is very important. AOQ is this term which will give you the average of the outgoing quality after rectification only. Then there is a sense of finding out this average outgoing quality, and after comparison of various sample plans, that plan which will have this minimum average outgoing quality, that is minimum fraction defective, outgoing fraction defective, is considered as a good plan. Let us see the example, one example to calculate the average outgoing quality curve. So the example is construct AOQ curve for the sampling plan n is equal to 2000, n is equal to 50, and C is equal to 2. That is what lot size is 2000, sample size is 50, and acceptance number is 2. Now how it is done? It is simply plotting it in the table. Incoming lot quality is P, that is fraction defective, probability of lot acceptance. So we have this incoming lot quality, it is going to vary from 0.01 to after that rejectable quality level also we can take 2-3 readings, so around 0.15. Corresponding probability of acceptance, you can get it from the Poisson's table. So this is the column for this probability of acceptance for this quality incoming fraction defective corresponding values, and average outgoing quality, we will use this equation in this slide. We are going to use this equation from this slide to calculate average outgoing quality, that is probability of acceptance into fraction defective into bracket capital N minus n by capital N. So using this formula we will find out the fraction defectives in this column, that is average fraction defective outgoing for outgoing products, and then we are going to plot a graph or chart of this. This is called as average outgoing quality curve. This is an indication of the quality of the components going outside of the industry after sampling rectification has been done. You can see here incoming lot quality is plotted on the x-axis. Average outgoing quality is plotted on the y-axis. You can see corresponding to say for example point 03 incoming lot quality is 3% defective. You can see what is the outgoing quality, it is less than 2.5. So it is less than 0.025. It means that it is less than 2.5% defective. It is always on the positive side because it is average after rectification. So whatever is the incoming quality, correspondingly average outgoing quality has been plotted here, and that value is less than the incoming quality always because of this average after rectification. So you can see this curve is plotted. The 2 points which should be noted from this curve: when the incoming lot is very good, the AOQ is also very good. Incoming lot quality is very good, 0.001 or 1% defective. You can see it is less than 1% outgoing quality. So very good, very good. Then when the incoming lot is very poor, the AOQ is good. When incoming lot is poor means that incoming fraction defective is more. Say for example, now you take this, say 9%. You can see what is the outgoing quality, it is 1.5% fraction defective in the outgoing products. So it is still good. Even though incoming quality is bad, average quality is good. So that is what is mentioned in this point. When incoming lot is very poor, the AOQ is good, as most of the lots are rejected by the sampling plan and go through the rectification process. In between these extremes, the AOQ curve reaches maximum AOQL. So what is happening? Because of rejection and replacement, outgoing quality is remaining good only. Even though incoming quality is poor, outgoing quality is remaining good only. In between these 2 points, that is this starting one wherein the incoming quality is good, and here where the incoming quality is poor, in between these two you have maximum AOQ, that is maximum average outgoing quality, which is called as limiting average outgoing quality, or AOQL. AOQL, this is an indication of the limiting value of the outgoing quality. Average outgoing quality limit. So that's the reason why this term is used here, average outgoing quality limit. The average outgoing quality limit is the maximum value or peak of the AOQ curve. It represents the worst average quality that would leave the inspection station assuming rectification regardless of input lot quality. This is important. This is the worst average quality that would leave the inspection station assuming rectification, which is very important, rectification. AOQL value is also a measure of goodness of the sampling plan. The plan which is having the less AOQL, that is supposed to be the better sampling plan. Note that protection offered by sampling plan in terms of AOQL does not apply to individual lots. This is actually average of the multiple lots. So it is individual lot wise, if you start deciding, then it is not possible. It is not only for a single lot, but number of lots are considered and averaged out, and that's the reason why it is called as average outgoing quality limit. It holds for the average quality of a series of batches, not a single batch. Now we'll see one more term, average total inspection. This is also important. Average total inspection represents the number of items inspected per lot. How many products or items are inspected per lot, that is called as the total inspection, average total inspection. If the lot has no non-conforming items, it will be obviously accepted by the chosen sampling plan, and only n atoms, that is sample size, will be inspected for the lot. Suppose you have a lot consisting of 1000 components and the sample is 100 pieces. So what you do, you inspect that sample of 100 pieces, and based on the sample you take a decision about the lot. Suppose the number of defectives are less than the acceptance number, then what you are going to do? You are going to accept this lot which is consisting of 1000 pieces. But how many pieces you have measured or inspected? That is the sample size, that is 100. So here the average total inspection is equal to this n value when the lot is accepted based on this first sample only. As the other extreme, if the lot has 100% non-conforming atoms, then n number or lot size of atoms will be inspected, assuming that rejected lots are rectified. Now you take this case. Suppose in the first case you have 1000 components and you have inspected 100. Now number of defectives there, suppose it is more than the acceptance number, then what you will do? You will reject the lot consisting of 1000 components basis on the basis of 100 inspections. But then what afterwards? After rejection, the remaining components, that is 1000 minus 100, how many are remaining? 900. So 900 components will be subjected to 100% inspection, and the defectives are counted, they are taken outside and replaced by good products. So inspection is for the complete lot. First the sample you have inspected of 100, and then remaining, since it was rejected, you have inspected the remaining number of components, 100% inspection for rectification. So that is how it is this extreme again. For intermediate lot quality, for a lot quality between these extremes, the average amount inspected per lot will vary between these two values. So if suppose you have intermediate quality lot, then what will do? You may not inspect overall all the components. Suppose you have got the number of defectives, okay, which is less than acceptance number, then you are going to accept the lot. So the number of inspections are less. Say that is a single sampling plan. Suppose it is a double sampling plan. In that case also you can arrive at the acceptance number by counting a single lot or both the lots. Then in that case the number of inspected components will be less. So that's the meaning of this average total inspection. Average total inspection for single sampling plan, it is given by average total inspection is equal to sample size plus 1 minus PA, that is what is the probability of rejection of these many components. PA is the probability of acceptance, and 1 minus PA is actually the probability of acceptance of what? Probability of acceptance of the remaining components. So n minus n, or rather it is actually 1 minus PA means probability of rejection. So rejected components are again inspected, that's the reason why it is 1 minus PA n minus n. And for double sampling plan, ATI is given by ATI, or average total inspection, is equal to N1 PA1. Now what is N1? N1 is the sample size of the first sample. PA1 is the probability of acceptance. Plus N1 plus N2 is this. N2 is the sample size of the second sample, and N1 plus N2 is the sample 1 plus sample 2. Probability of acceptance of these both samples is PA2. PA2 is the probability of acceptance based on the second sample. So it is cumulative. Plus N1 minus PA, that is those components which are rejected. So probability of rejectance is 1 minus PA. PA is PA1 plus PA2. That is, PA is probability of acceptance of based on the first as well as second. It is combined based on the first and second. And rejected means 1 minus PA. And how many are rejected? They are rejected from this n only. So that is what is n multiplied by 1 minus PA. So this is how ATI is calculated for double sampling plan. Now we'll take one example on this ATI. Let us solve this example. You have to construct average total inspection curve for sampling plan n is equal to 2000 and small n is 50, acceptance number is 2. So how will you solve? You prepare the table, incoming lot quality, probability of lot acceptance. This is a single sampling plan, so you have only one thing, one probability, and average total inspection using the equation in the previous slide. We are going to use this equation, average total inspection, and calculate the value of this average total inspection for the single sampling plan. So this is calculated and tabulated for various incoming lot qualities, and then we will plot a graph between incoming lot and average total inspection, and that graph is called as average total inspection curve. So this is that graph which is called as average total inspection curve for the given problem or for the given plan. You can see here incoming lot quality is taken on the x-axis, y-axis you have average total inspection curve of the values, and these points we will join them, and that will give us the curve, average total inspection curve. As inferior lots are coming, number of samples or number of pieces inspected is going to get more and more only. So this is like a number is increasing only based on the lot quality. It is different than average outgoing quality. This is average total inspection. Average outgoing quality will be less compared to this at the ends, but here this is not having any other end. I mean other end is at the upper higher side only. The inferior lots, more number of pieces needs to be inspected. So this is also one of the parameter for differentiating between two samples. Always that sampling plan which will give us less amount of inspection is preferable over the another one which is giving more number of inspection components. So that's all about acceptance sampling. These are the resources I had used or reference material I had used for construction of this material or for producing these videos. Thanks a lot.